here we go. Welcome back to Project R.E.D. Review Episode 6. Well, this one's called Phantom Thief Fade Enters. Yes, this is a quite interesting episode. It doesn't feel like it advances the plot of the show at all. I watched this episode, and it just seemed like feels like a filler episode. Because it's on Gavan Luminous's Earth. Apparently, Infinity is on a business trip. I'm like, that seems odd. Also, this is the first episode to not feature the comedy duo. Yes, they're not here. We don't even see his home Earth at all this episode. Just see him like, oh, the Luminous have positivity. He goes back there, first time since episode 3. And on the Earth, it's like, oh, we have this Phantom who's like been hired. This Phantom has been hired by this guy to retrieve his wife and daughter and his stuff. It's like, I'm not really into basically missing persons, but I'll be happy to receive your treasure. I gotta hand it to the guy who plays this particular character, Phantom Thief Fade. It seems like he had a blast playing this character. He's probably by far the best thing about this episode, because also it just seemed like, yeah, let's have Gavan Infinity, the main character of the show. Let's have him basically do not much at all, aside from fighting the monster of the episode, who just springs out of nowhere. So it's like, yeah, we have this alien species who, the only way to know they're alien is due to their eyelashes. And apparently, these two fled from the guy, who was actually the woman's husband, the girl's father, because he was abusive toward the mother. Reason? Don't really know. They don't really go into that. So they go shopping, and of course Luminous and her partner, they do some shopping, of course, and they run into, of course, they have some food because they're just hiding on Earth. Had to go to the actual consulate. And then, of course, they run into Phantom Thief, obviously. Gavan Infinity just comes up out of nowhere. Yeah, he's there. Okay. And it's like, he got pretty much, like, he just shows up, fights the monster pop stuff with the gear. The big action piece is basically, oh, let's have the mecha not fight a monster. Let's have him basically do a rescue operation. Like, okay, that's fine. And do like a crane operation, which is interesting. And it's Luminous piloting the frickin' mech. Not Infinity this time. That's been unusual. I'm glad the fact they brought this back, because it was clearly not in the last episode for some weird reason. And they do in fact rescue the girl who was trapped in the space bus. And they rescue her. And they retrieve the Emo Gear. The Fantasy takes the treasure, but gives back the Emo Gear because they need it for reasons. And then he presumably hands back to the guy who hired him. And then it turns out, nope, he gave back the treasures, but not the treasure itself. Because he used that treasure to buy a spaceship for those two to go someplace. He also disguised himself as a waiter. Now, his disguise is simply wear a face mask. I'm like, why not just put on a fake face? What's wrong with a fake face? Why in the world do we have to have a face mask? Yeah, this is a really dumb disguise. I'm not really a big fan of that disguise at all. So, and by the way, Infinity himself, there's a weird moment where he does the salute that Luminous does, and their partner's like, oh no, she's my partner. And drags him away, oh, we'll hang out again, like, what the heck was that? Like, it's almost like she was jealous of him. Like, it is implied she has a thing for her partner. Not clear. It just, oh, she's my partner, and there's no talk of basically going to his Earth this time, per se, like it was last time. After that one scene, he disappears. He's not even in the end of the episode, which is kind of weird. The post-credits scene I thought was interesting. The other guy shot Emo Gear, and then he passes out, and the Emo Gear gets picked up by the Black Gavan, which we are going to explore this guy next episode. All in all, for 6 episodes, I liked the first 5. This one felt okay at best. But, like I said before, the best thing about the episode is Phantom Thief Fate. He was the best thing about this episode. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, to notifications. Next up, well, I officially have covered everything for the weekend, so now officially go back to Combinator 01. Okay. See you. Bye.